What up? It's the real Keys and the other fabrication of your imagination. And today I'm reviewing chapter 16 of Record of Ragnarok Apocalypse of the Gods. And the chapter begins with the end of round 3 of Indra and Suzaku's fight, with Indra being the winner. And we see Ares talking to Hermes. Ares looks kind of mad, or I don't even know what to say his face is looking like. And Ares is giving Indra his props and saying that he evolved into a completely different fighter during his match, and that this tournament is the real deal and very dangerous. And Hermes is comparing Indra to the other chief gods, saying that he's not lacking. And Hermes says for it to be God versus God, a brand new monster is born every time they fight. And Ares says this tournament, it goes beyond all godly sense, having these monsters devour each other. At the end of all of this, just what manner of beast will be born? And he seems kind of nervous about if the winner of the tournament is an outer god, because they can't be controlled. And then we see Ares talking to Zeus, and they just bring up the bonus prize for the winner. And Ares makes it seem like he is about to fight, saying as the god of war he shall fulfill his duty, and if his power isn't enough, then he'll sacrifice his body for Nephilim. Anything it takes to protect my beloved Valhalla. And Zeus just says that he had the same thought. And then they bring us back to the arena, and the announcer brings up how the last fight took place outside of the arena and the stage, and the arena is completely unharmed, unlike how it was during the previous matches. We move over to some god named Pixie and Sandy, and they're looking for someone they call Big Bro, and they have a conversation talking about who they think will be the last one standing in the end. And Pixie say outside of Big Bro, he really doesn't care, because there's nobody out there who can beat Big Bro. And now we see who they meant by Big Bro. They meant Wukong, and they say that Wukong is unbeatable, but if anyone could hold a candle to him, it would be Kukulane. And he was actually there eavesdropping on their conversation. Well, he wasn't necessarily eavesdropping. They walked up while he was standing in a tree, and they bring up how he is supposed to fight Wukong in the next round. And Ku mentions how he was thrown off since Prometheus lost, but now he's glad because he can fight against someone he can go all out against. And Pixie and Sandy talking about how Ku has guts, and they respect that. And then we see Wukong just lounging around in a tree like Ku was. And we get a little bit of backstory where they say the memories of the legendary fight. The massive gods were synthetic gods. They talking about when Wukong, I guess, rebelled against the heavens. Then it says, long ago various evil gods rampaged across the lands, and thus they were created to pacify the increasingly chaotic world. The Deus Machinus mechanical god. In this war with synthetic god, a nameless monkey from the backwater trained himself to become the strongest battle god. It was not an exaggeration to call him the great sage, heaven's equal. However, within his legendary exists a deeper truth that was never told. And then we go back to the arena, and they're introducing the first fighter, and it says, long ago, to defeat the rampaging evil gods, they created autonomous divine soldiers capable of melting out divine punishment. They were synthetic gods, but amongst them he stood alone, the only special one. There he is. In this tournament, if there was anyone who could give Big Bro trouble, it'd be that asshole, and that asshole alone. And they're speaking on Neza. And they say he was created to hunt down those that the normal synthetic gods couldn't handle themselves. A truly special existence. In other words, the anti-outer god, synthetic god. Then they bring up the journey to the west, and says he fought against Wukong, and at the end of their battle, it is said that he was defeated. But that tale was a fiction, and the actual truth was, after fighting for 17 days straight, they couldn't reach an end to their battle. But after the battle, the records were erased across all of Valhalla, so it might as well have never happened. Then we have King Emma speaking, saying obviously those two felt differently about it. And since that day, Neza hunted down innumerable evil gods, even hunted down the other outer gods. And no matter how many gods he hunted down, his heart remained empty. And he blames Wukong for this. And he says that the whole tournament means nothing to him. neither the apocalypse of the gods nor the Ragnarok. And he says he will not allow the other outer gods to do as they please and entrust their subjugation to him. And he says his mission from that day is still incomplete. And Neza says that he has been upgrading his combat abilities since then. And it seems like Neza has some type of searching ability, and he was specifically looking for Wukong but could not find him in the audience. And then we go back to Wukong, and it seems that he fell asleep. And it seems like Neza also has a danger sense with his scanning ability. And it says dangerous presence detected in the immediate vicinity. Classification level 5. So I guess there's different levels for different threats. But the person he is talking about right now is Morgan. And yes, with this search ability, he is able to identify people. They're introducing Morgan, saying that she is the strongest goddess. Then they speak on how the goddesses had a battle in the final match against Echidna, who was hailed at as the top seeding fighter, was pummeled at an inch of her life. Her destructive power was loaded as true dreadnought class. And then we see Morgan just looking down on Neza. And Morgan is a lot bigger than Neza. And Neza says in his experience, simple-minded beasts like Morgan is the ones he fucked up the easiest. So Neza is talking big shit. And then the announcer announces the fight to start. And Morgan immediately goes for Neza. And that's where the chapter ends. This was actually a decent introduction chapter. It's pretty unique to see that Neza is somewhat a robot. And I think it's pretty cool how Neza and Wukong actually tied in a fight. And Morgan lost to Ku. And now Morgan has to fight Neza and Ku has to fight Wukong in the next round. But like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more Record of Ragnarok reviews. And if you like versus battles and power scaling. And follow Universal Debates on Facebook.